Hello students. Now this is your chapter number 4, the Supreme Court. So open your textbook on page number 25. Supreme Court, it is the biggest court of India and the decision given by it has to be accepted by all the citizens, and all the citizens means even the political leaders. The picture is shown of the Supreme Court, and the newspaper cuttings are also shown, which are the judgments given by the Supreme Court. Now turn your page number 26. Read and think. Law is required for the safety and welfare of people. When any citizen or institution breaks any law, a specific process is followed to address the issue. Now we all know that law, that is qaida, it is required for the safety, peace and welfare of the people. If laws are not followed, then there will be chaos, that is arajakta, in the country. If any institution or citizen they break the law, कायदे का भंग करता है, then there is a process through which that problem or issue is solved. There is a hierarchy of courts to impart justice in our country. It starts with the Taluka court as the lowest court, succeeded by the district court, the high court and the Supreme Court. Then there is a hierarchy. Hierarchy means a chain is decided, and it starts from Panchayat to Taluka court to district court to high court and to Supreme Court. And among this, the judiciary is one of the most important organs of the government. Judiciary is kept independent from the legislature and the executive. Now there are three organs of the government. They are judiciary, legislature and executive. Among these three, this judiciary is the most important organ of the government, and this judiciary, it is kept independent. Now what do you mean by independent judiciary? Independent judiciary means that the किसी के साथ भी अन्याय न हो ऐसा जजमेंट जो दे सकता है, किसी के ऊपर भी हक नहीं चलाता, और कोई भी हो, दैट इज़ इफ़ एनी पॉलिटिकल लीडर, इट मे बी प्राइम मिनिस्टर, चीफ मिनिस्टर, वो भी अपने हिसाब से नहीं चला सकते. सो दैट इज़ इंडिपेंडेंट जुडिशरी. किसी के भी अधिकार या दबाव में आकर जजमेंट नहीं देते हैं. दैट इज़ कॉल्ड इंडिपेंडेंट जुडिशरी. If the judiciary is not independent, then the powerful people, they would use their power and money, and by using their power and money, they might get the judgment in their favor after committing any serious crime. So below the picture is given of the Supreme Court. Now, what is the role of the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court is the highest among all the courts in the nation. It came into existence on 28 January 1950. So among all the courts, the Supreme Court is the highest court. When the laws were implemented, जब कायदे बनाए थे on 26 January 1950, आज़ादी के बाद, our Supreme Court came into existence on 20th January 1950. It holds the right of conferring the fundamental rights granted to us by the Constitution. Now, what is the function of the Supreme Court? It is to see that the fundamental rights of each and every citizen are granted to them. जो अधिकार है लोगों का, वो अधिकार लोगों को मिले. Any citizen have the right to file an appeal directly in the Supreme Court if any of his or her fundamental rights have been violated. If any citizen is deprived of, उनके अधिकार छीन जाते हैं, then they can directly file a case in the Supreme Court. Any citizen or institution can file a petition in the Supreme Court to avail justice in the view of public interest, and this is known as PIL, public interest litigation. Then any person or a thing or any institution are giving message against the citizen or harm the citizen, then he or she can file a case in Supreme Court. And this point is understood by the example of a film Padmavati. In that Padmavati movie, the people, they have filed a case that it shows this picture is against their religion, and that is known as PIL. The Supreme Court interprets the Constitution and advises the President and the Parliament in the same regard. Then the Supreme Court, they treat equally the Constitution, the President and the Parliament. All are treated equally, and the judgment is also given equally. It also enjoys the power to review the judgment passed by any of the lower courts. Then सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज़ द पावर टू रिव्यू द जजमेंट, जो जजमेंट दिया है उसको रिवाइज करने का, वापस उस पर सोच विचार के बदलने का, गिवन बाय द तालुका हाई कोर्ट और डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट. द सुप्रीम कोर्ट सॉल्व्स disputes between citizen and the government, between states and between the center and state. Then Supreme Court, it solves the disputes, जो झगड़े होते हैं बिटवीन द सिटीज़न के बीच, गवर्नमेंट के बीच, एक स्टेट के दूसरे स्टेट के साथ, सेंटर के स्टेट के साथ. ऑल दिस डिस्प्यूट्स आर सॉल्व बाय सुप्रीम कोर्ट. टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस, we will study the example of Narmada movement. So now page number 27. There was a protest against the increasing height of the Narmada Dam above 110 meters near Navagam. So there was a dispute, झगड़ा चल रहा था, regarding the height of Narmada Dam near Navagam. They wanted to increase the height above 110 meter. The environmentalist organization and NGOs from Madhya Pradesh and other regions were fighting for the rights of the tribal who would lose their land and habitat forever due to this project. The Supreme Court passed a judgment on 8th March 2006 to resolve this conflict between the two states. So the environmentalists and the NGOs from the Madhya Pradesh and other regions, they were against this of increasing the height, and they protested, विरोध किया. इसके लिए फॉर द राइट्स ऑफ द ट्राइबल्स मीन्स आदिवासी लोगों के हक के लिए उन लोगों ने विरोध किया, दैट दे विल लूज देयर लैंड एंड हाउस फॉर मेकिंग अ डैम. द लैंड बिसाइड्स हैव टू बी यूज अप. आसपास की जो ज़मीन है वो ज़मीन वो लोग ले लेंगे, और ये लोग जो वहाँ रह रहे हैं उन लोगों को हटाना पड़ेगा. एंड इफ़ द डैम ब्रेक्स then they will lose their life. So a conflict was going on between Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. So the Supreme Court, they gave a judgment on 8th March 2006. It stated that in accordance with the rising population, it was necessary to carry out this project. There was a possibility of a positive development in the environment and benefits to all the living beings due to Sardar Sarovar Yojana. And what did the Supreme Court says by giving the judgment? That the population is increasing day by day, बस्ती बढ़ रही है, and more water will be needed, so ज़्यादा पानी की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. So it was necessary to increase the height of the dam so more water can be stored in it. The government also said that if more water is stored, then there are more chances of development of agriculture, and it will be benefited to all living beings, and it gave the name of Sardar Sarovar Yojana. It was necessary to carry out the arid areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh would get water, and the expansion of desert could be kept under control. Then, what other reason they said? That the arid areas, that is the dry areas of सूखेग्रस्त area, dry areas, जहाँ पे ज़्यादा पानी नहीं मिलता है, of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, they would get sufficient water. Due to this project, they would get sufficient water. And desert जो बढ़ता जा रहा है, जो रण बढ़ता जा रहा है, उसे हम कंट्रोल करेंगे. The expansion of desert would stop, and like this, desert could be kept under control. Proper rehabilitation of the tribals affected by this project should be given the top priority, and hence their fundamental rights could be protected. Then what other judgment was given by the Supreme Court? The top priority, more importance, should be given for rehabilitation of the tribals. So the tribal people, who will lose their land and house, they would get good houses to live and also occupation. And like this, their fundamental rights could also be protected. Now, the picture of Narmada Dam is given here, and below the table is given where the dispute between the center and state, between the two states, between two citizens, between person and government, and between person and institution, the cases are there and the judgments are given by the judge. Now, turn your page number 28. Why is judiciary independent? So, imagine yourself in a situation where a powerful person captures the land belonging to your family and you go to the court to get your property back. But the system is such that a powerful influential person can remove or transfer a judge from his or her position. In such a situation, the judge would favor the powerful person only. So now, why judiciary should be independent? So, it is important for the judiciary to be independent. It's shown by an example that a powerful person, जो ताकतवर आदमी होता है, जिसके पास पावर पैसा है, captures the land, वो ज़मीन हड़प लेता है, which belongs to your family, and you take the help of the court to get your property back. आप कोर्ट में जाके केस दर्ज करते हैं वो प्रॉपर्टी वापस लेने के लिए. But that powerful person with his power and influence, अपनी ताकत से, अपनी लागवक से, removes the judge from the post, and the judgment is in the favor of that powerful person. He removes the judge, वो जज की पोस्ट के वो आदमी को हटा देता है और उसके फेवर में फैसला आता है. In this type of situation, the judiciary should be important. So, to stop such type of events or happenings, the judiciary should be important. So, if judiciary is deprived of freedom, if powerful, influential people can control the judiciary, there would be no impartial judgment. So, if the judiciary has no freedom or it is not independent, then the powerful people will control the judiciary and there would be bhedbhav, galat judgment. And this is the reason that our constitution does not allow the interference of the influential people. And for all this reason, in our constitution also, such kind of interference not there. And that is the reason why judiciary has been kept independent from legislature and executive. So from the three organs of the government, only judiciary is kept independent. Thus, the judges are appointed in the High Court and the Supreme Court. It becomes very difficult to expel them from their respective position. If an individual feels that his or her fundamental rights is violated, he or she can go to the court. And if once the judge is appointed for any case in the High Court and the Supreme Court, then it is very difficult to remove them from their position. एक बार जज अपॉइंट हो जाते हैं हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में तो उनको हटाना मुश्किल है. इफ़ एनीबडी थिंक्स दैट देयर राइट्स आर स्नैच्ड अवे, उनके अधिकार छीने गए हैं, देन ही और शी कैन गो टू द कोर्ट, तो वो लोग कोर्ट में जा सकते हैं और वो अपने हक के लिए लड़ सकते हैं. So students, the rest of the chapter we will discuss in the next video.